Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. And welcome to A-State Connections on KASU and ASU-TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves, News Director with KASU Public Radio and the host of A-State Connections, the radio show on KASU. Well, submissions are being taken now for the 2023 Great A-State Media Fest. It's a competition that allows students to submit their best work in media production. Telling us more about this is Associate Professor of Creative Media Production, Dr. Michael Bowman, and Instructor of Creative Media Production, Dustin Sullivan. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Welcome to A-State Connections.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
It's great to be able to have A-State Connections here on for 2023.
Yeah, sure
and
is.
So thank you for joining me for the first show. So this is a really cool idea, the A-State Media Fest. Kind of tell us about how this started. Dr. Bowman, I'll start with you.
Well, for more than 80 years, I believe it was 81 years, our college did something called Communications Day. And we would have that event here on campus in which we would invite in high schools from all across the region to come in and compete in a variety of different categories involving media production. And it was really a popular event. And in fact, I think you were a participant at one point.
Yeah, years ago. That was that had been about 91, 92 when I was a high school student at Gosnell High School.
Yeah, and then Dustin, you were a participant in a variety of different ways.
Yeah, mainly as a judge, a couple of times as a student here at A-State during my undergrad years, and then also helping out in studio as well during some of the, because I believe we would have students come in and do performance based up in the TV studio, and the ASU-TV staff would help run that both out here studio and in control room as well.
Right. So in 2020, we were just getting ready to start on number 82. And this event is usually held in March. Yeah. Well, what happened in 2020? In March, everything shut down. And so we had to shut down our traditional version of Communications Day when everybody came to campus in order to participate. And it was such a popular event that we were trying to figure out, how can we do this? How can we still have students from this area participate in some form of competition where they could showcase their work? And so we came up with this idea of having an online competition. And so in 2021, I think, was our first one, and we had about 250 entries participate. And it's grown, where last year I think we were up to
over 300.
Over 300. Yeah. So we've evolved from going from face-to-face to now it's strictly an online competition.
Right. And so tell us, Dustin, about the different schools that are involved in this and how wide a reach that there is for the different schools.
I mean, you're looking at all the schools pretty much in Northeast Arkansas. There's also been some schools in the central part of the state as well. And we've even hit the state of Missouri as well. We've had some schools, I think, from Doniphan and up in the Poplar Bluff region that have been involved. I mean, it has reached almost the entire state of Arkansas and up into Missouri, to the point where for the second year I'll be going to the State East Conference in Hot Springs, and a lot of students and a lot of their instructors of East and creative media, things like that, all talk about our competition as being really one of the only ones that they participate from a local regional standpoint.
Right, and so I know you do that. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Bowman, please.
Well, I was going to say, and I think that's one of the great things about having an online competition, because I know in years past, we've received feedback from a lot of schools around the state, around the region, who've wanted to participate, but for a variety of reasons, they were not able to come to Jonesboro. I know there's a lot of basketball tournaments going on in March, and sometimes it may be a matter of distance in which they can't travel this far. And so really the online competition has opened up a lot of new opportunities for us, but also a lot of opportunities for students and schools, all over the state and really all over the region to participate in this.
Yeah.
Now, I know that with that, there's been a lot of great work that you all have seen. What's impressed you the most about some of the works that you've seen? Dustin, I'll start with you.
I think, I deal a lot with seeing, multi-camera productions, whether it be in the sports industry or in the news, just how sophisticated and professional the submissions that we get really kind of match what we're seeing out of students that are even in college or even above in the profession as well. And I think that's a testament to the faculty and the teachers that these students have that have maybe worked in the industry before, or they went to school for creative media, and they're really carrying it on into teaching students sort of the best standard practices to where their work looks almost to professional level.
Right. Dr. Bowman?
Yeah, and I would add on that the creativity.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is just amazing what some of the students are doing now. Like Dustin said, at both the high school and the college level. I know they have, with the advent of all these new technologies that are available, that there's just so many creative tools that are out there. And I'm just constantly amazed about the creativity that these students use in employing all these different tools that they have. But it's not just a matter of just technology, it's the way they use it and the creativity that they use it and the stories that they tell, and utilizing all this technology to tell these really compelling and interesting stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of the questions, as you were talking about this, that came to my mind was, so you have high school students, for example, that are putting together this amazing work, and they could probably be held up to college students. So they already have the knowledge kind of going in of the different programs, software, how to be able to do that. How are you all as college professors able to then kind of craft the students in kind of like their next steps, if you will? If they already know the software and all that stuff, where do you all kind of take it from there to really mold them into their craft even better?
I really think we can introduce kind of higher standards of practice. From a television standpoint, we can introduce things like, correct timing and use of maybe even some higher level equipment that they may not have been able to get their hands on, because I still think to this day there's probably a gap in funding from what high schools can purchase and can afford in terms of video equipment or software, things like that, compared to the collegiate level, just due to the budgets that are available to them. But I think we also provide the avenues that maybe they don't have. I mean, you're looking right here at ASU-TV being on cable and on YouTube and on Facebook. Some of them may have only just been on social media before, but we provide the ability for them. Same thing with Red Wolf Radio. They're a radio station as well, in different avenues as well. So I think when they, if these students do come to Arkansas State or really any other college that does creative media, I think they also learn about how much experience these professors have in the field, and they can learn and glean from that.
Dr. Bowman?
Yeah, and I think to add on that, it's I talked about how students are telling good stories. We are kind of expanding upon that, about how, again, to use the tools that are available to tell really good stories in all forms, not just films, but telling good stories in sports, telling good stories in the media ministry, telling good stories in advertising, telling good stories in promotions. And so expanding upon that storytelling concept is one thing we do. And another thing we do is the media has such a tremendous impact on the way we see the world, the things that we purchase, the people we vote for. And so there's a lot of responsibility and ethics associated with the creation of media. And I think that's something that we all take as faculty, we take very seriously, that we try to emphasize and instill in all of our students about, yes, creating content is fun. It's a really enjoyable thing to do, but it also bears a lot of responsibility as well, because there's a lot of power in the way media is created and, again, its impact on audiences and stuff.
Right.
And so, again, we take that very seriously, and we try to illustrate that and share that information with our students. So when they go out and are creating content for companies, for government agencies, for ministries, for corporations, for whoever, that they have that sense that, I can tell a good story, but I can tell it responsibly.
And, there are people that are looking for students that will come out of Arkansas State that can help them tell those stories.
Correct.
And I know that's the big thing about that, is being able to help them be able to say, okay, this is maybe how you can tell the story, but this is what businesses are looking for. Is that kind of the goal of the Creative Media Production Department?
It is. It's the goal for the Creative Media Production Department, and tying it back to the Media Fest. A lot of the competitions that we have, we've kind of developed from some of the things that we try to do with our students here to get them ready to be professionals. We're going to talk about this here in just a little while, but we have a competition where there's like a portfolio competition, a portfolio category. It is so important in today's media world to have a good, strong, solid, creative portfolio. And unfortunately, a lot of students don't realize that. And so having that knowledge, that background in terms of what it takes to be a professional of this day is certainly one of the things we try to instill as faculty. But again, we've been able to integrate it in some of the categories of competition that we've had, or we have, in the Media Fest.
I know you all are really excited about this. Dustin, what fires you up and gets you excited about this Media Fest?
Oh, just seeing what all these students can do. Just the content they can put together. I compare it to when I was their age. I didn't have the technology that they have now, the accessibility, the access to, Adobe Creative Cloud and, professional video cameras, DSLR cameras, mirrorless cameras. I didn't have access to that. These students have it now, and they're taking complete advantage of that by not only creating content for their classes or for themselves, but creating content that is submitted into the Great A-State Media Fest.
We're going to talk more about the Great A-State Media Fest coming up. We'll talk about the categories and other things, and we'll continue this conversation. Associate Professor of Creative Media Production, Dr. Michael Bowman, and Instructor of Creative Media Production, Dustin Sullivan, is joining us here on A-State Connections to talk about the 2023 Great A-State Media Fest. We'll continue this conversation after this quick timeout. We'll be right back after this.
ASU-TV, shows like Red Wolf Roundtable, ASU-TV News, Westside Football, and more. Gain real-life experience while doing what you love. Get involved with ASU-TV today.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
At Arkansas State, we want you to go. Go where learning soars, takes flight, and rockets ahead. Go for experiences, internships, and scholarships. We want you to go. Become A-State Maine. Are you ready to go? Go.astate.edu for details.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
And welcome back to A-State Connections on KASU and ASU-TV as we're continuing our conversation about the 2023 Great A-State Media Fest with Associate Professor of Creative Media Production, Dr. Michael Bowman, and Instructor of Creative Media Production, Dustin Sullivan. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining us again. I want to ask you about the different categories that make up the Great A-State Media Fest. Which categories are there? I know that Dr. Bowman, you'd said earlier about there's a portfolio category. What are some of the other categories?
Well, we have some general categories like for video and for audio, for social media and photography. But we can drill down a little bit deeper in that, where we have like in the audio and video, we have what we call long form and short form type of or areas that you can do in several categories. You can see there the graphic. We have voice talent, long form audio production, audio spots is like a commercial or a public service announcement, video talent, flyers and posters, the portfolio, resume, website,
And so many options in the photography area, as you can see there. I mean, anywhere from landscape photography, portraits, one of my personal favorites, the sports action area, getting to see some action shots that these students are getting out at their even their high school, or even some of them at other sporting events as well. And even in the photo editing area, let's see what these students can do with things like Photoshop, maybe even some Illustrator, Lightroom, things like that. See what their editing skills are to improve photos that they've taken.
All right, really encouraging them to be able to just kind of think outside the box.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, all those categories reflect what the media landscape is like right now. You know, just about every category there is reflective of some type of occupation that is available for a lot of our students and graduates, and that are very popular in the media industry today. So it really gives them a chance. It really gives the people, both the high school students and the college students, an idea of what type of products, what type of media products hiring managers are looking for, corporations are looking for.
Yeah, because some people may come in and all they want to do is video, and that's it. But may not think about that there are separate jobs just for audio, you know, and that now companies may be putting together things that they need an audio component on their web build along with a video component. And so there are multiple ways to be able to tell those stories.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, really, today's graduate, today's student in the media profession needs to know a little bit of everything. You know, they need to know how to shoot video. They need to know how to record audio. They need to know how to do social media, take photographs. I mean, to really be, I guess, a treasured worker today in today's media industry, the more you know, the more experiences that you have in a variety of different media areas, it's just going to be to your advantage.
So how do students submit their work in this, Dustin?
So our website, ASU-TV.com, coming up here on the screen, ASU-TV.com/MediaFest is the link that they can use. They'll see all the rules and information both on the high school entries and on the collegiate entries as well. They can see a document that shows all of the categories and a description of those categories that kind of helps break down, because some of the questions we've had in the past is on like the photography side from some of the advisors that these students work with. How does this photo fit? Where does it fit in what category? And we've really tried, the committee's really tried to do a good job of giving them as much detail as we can in terms of what is required for that specific category. And then there'll be a form that they can fill out where they can either upload their media to that, or they can provide links to that, and then we get all that information. And then there'll be preliminary judging by the CMP, the Creative Media Production faculty. And then the finalist judging will be done by some of our students within our department in terms of the high school judging. And then we bring in professionals in the industry to help out with the collegiate level judging.
Right. So put me down for the collegiate level judging, and then
Done.
I'll be happy to do
Done.
that. Because I have judged a lot of competitions. I think one of the things that, and this is really a good problem to have when you've got several entries that are just, you just don't know who's going to win because they're that solid of entries. And judging is not an easy thing to do.
No.
But it is but it's really cool to be able to have that, just the talent of that.
I think it's great from the high school that our students here in creative media production are the ones judging. They see what the future competition can be.
Yeah.
They see what they're up against if these students were to come to A-State and what the competition's like for positions, whether it's within any of our student organizations, paid positions, or jobs down the road. Our students know, our current students know what students that are coming into the program have already accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think it may even push our current students to improve their work and create portfolios that are worthy of jobs in the industry.
And now I know what an award-winning entry would look like. It's going to make me a better, a better producer of that content, and now I know what people are looking for. Yeah. So that's definitely good. We gave information about what people can do if they want to get involved in Media Fest. I want to kind of talk for just a few minutes, since we have you here, about what you all do here at Arkansas State University. So, Dr. Bowman, I wanted to ask you about what is it that you teach? What's your areas of interest at Arkansas State?
Well, I teach, like, for example, just before we came here to the set, I was teaching writing for creative media. The various different types of styles that are involved in writing for advertising, for filmmaking. And after we finish here, I'm going to be going to a graduate level class that's called Media and Celebrity Culture. I also teach a class for media portfolio called Media Portfolio. It's designed for students who are just about to graduate from the creative media production program, where we help them get ready for that transition between being a college student to being out as a professional in the working world. Most of my interest involves some type of production. I grew up, this kind of goes to show you how old I am, back when there were only 3 channels on TV. And there was a channel out of Memphis called WREC that would show late night movies. And I used to stay up and watch those movies all night long. I say all night long, they would, back then the network or the channels would go off at like 12:30 or 1 in the morning.
Right.
But I used to love movies, and I always wanted to create movies. I remember taking my dad's Brownie camera, the 8mm Brownie camera, and making 3 or 4 minute films and stuff. And so when it came time for me to select a major here at Arkansas State University, and back then it was called radio television, man, I just jumped at the opportunity,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that way it would give me an opportunity to create those films and other types of media content that I'd only dreamed about doing, sitting there watching movies late at night on television.
And I know that you've also taught filmmaking as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, you're talking about an opportunity for students to be able to do basically whatever it is that they want to do, whether it's long form, short form, or those things, and really kind of the sky's the limit, just how creative that they can be.
Right. And one of the things we try to do is to show how you can integrate all of those things together, how you can integrate audio with video, and how you can integrate audio, video, and graphics to tell those stories and create that content that goes just beyond just something that is run-of-the-mill mundane, but into something that's really special, that's compelling, that's entertaining, that's informative, that makes you laugh, that makes you cry, that makes you get mad, and all this kind of stuff. Those are the things that we try to do to show how all these media elements that are available out there work together to create that compelling content that hopefully audiences will love. Yeah.
And Dustin, tell us about, because I know you're in the sports.
Correct.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. I teach our sports casting, our sports production, and our sports programming courses here. Our sports casting really focuses on students being on air, whether it be for play-by-play, color commentary, sideline reporting, but we've also introduced kind of this similar style show, the talk, but we also introduced the debate style as well, because you see all these shows on, ESPN and Fox Sports where the talking heads are just going nonstop, each other talking about sports of the day. Sports production is dealing with multi-camera sports productions, whether within the ESPN production realm, or we also do some events through ASU-TV. They learn all about that. And then sports programming really deals with how do we put sports on air on both television and the radio side. The students put together a sports talk radio pitch, show pitch that they have to do throughout the term, and I also give them a lot of exposure into the podcast world when it comes to sports as well. And of course, teaching the other courses in video production one, teaching and overseeing our experiential media courses, all get glean kind of the knowledge that I've gained throughout the years, whether it be as a student here at Arkansas State, or during my time as a content video editor at ESPN, or even outside the sports world in the private sector, and even in the health profession world as well. Some of that experience that I can bring in to help an abundance of students with whatever career in media they're looking for.
Right. And Dr. Bowman, you were at KAIT for a long time. Well, what else have you done in the field?
Well, you're right. I did KAIT for a long time. I did a lot of freelance work where I did everything from commercial production to actually did some sports production as well. I've been fortunate enough, everybody has their own hobbies. One of the things I like to do is create documentaries. And so I've been fortunate enough to create a few documentaries that I've submitted to film festivals that has allowed me to explore some things that I'm really interested in. Some of my favorite topics of documentaries are showing how things that happen locally can connect to things that happen nationally or even internationally.
Right.
And so I've been able to explore some of those topics and, do some things that are really a lot of fun, and hopefully they'll educate some people along the way as well.
And that's why I wanted to talk about that, because not only are you teaching students, you've been in the field, you know what the standards are, you understand that, and you expect the same standards out of the students that you're teaching. So
And it's all about adapting the standards for what the industry is showing as well, making sure that faculty know the standards, the improvements in production, and making sure we're teaching our students all the latest for them to be successful in the field.
Well, that'll do it for this edition of A-State Connections. I want to thank my guests today, Dr. Michael Bowman and Dustin Sullivan. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Also want to thank a instructor of creative media production, Galen Perkins, and his amazing students. They're behind the scenes, running the show, doing a fantastic job. Thanks to engineers Derek Herring and Clayton Holderfield for their help. And also thank you for watching. And don't forget, A-State Connections is heard every Saturday morning at 11 on 91.9 FM KASU and streaming on the KASU mobile app. And I'll see you right here next Wednesday at 1:30 for another edition of A-State Connections. So long, everybody.